everybody. This is Kevin Davidson, your host for Kevin's Corner, real estate from a marketing perspective, and this is episode number 34. So it is 2024, the new year, and we're getting back at it with the podcasts. I have a couple of great guests today, and I always like to start off the podcast by telling everybody that this podcast is not about me, it's about you. It's about the guests that are on the podcast. I do the podcast, put it out there on YouTube, and let the guests promote the podcast to promote their business and promote themselves. So if you are an agent or a vendor that operates in Fort Bend County and you want to be on the podcast, give me a call, 832-654-0527, or email me at kevin.davidson@stewart.com. I'd love to put you on the podcast. Also, I couldn't do this podcast if it wasn't for my support team, Jennifer Smitis, the Area Vice President, Caitlin Korner, Devin, the escrow officers here in the Sugar Land office, and Wendy Santana and Adriana Alzate, our new Spanish-speaking escrow officer in the Richmond office. So if you're not using Stewart title in Fort Bend County, you will be soon. Let's get started. So this is episode number 34. We like to have fun on my podcast. This is Stephen Curtis from NRL Mortgage. I've known him for a little while. I know him through Carrie Jo Woodling, whom everybody knows. She's been around longer than there's been real estate.
You got to be careful.
Yeah, I know. She's sitting right over there. So Carrie Jo is in the house. She just doesn't. She's not on camera. So say hi, Carrie Jo.
Hello, everybody.
There you go. There's Carrie Jo. So Stephen Curtis is you're in charge of own. Tell us about yourself and why you're here.
Right. Well, first, thanks for having me.
Sure.
So I serve as the Chief Production Officer for NRL Mortgage. So national sales support, in charge of growth, with the current, future, existing branches, loan officers that are looking for a move, looking for something that is more focused on being loan officer serving. Our biggest focus is just building and molding a company that is built to serve a loan officer. Okay. And so I'd worked at NRL Mortgage from 2011 to 2016. Okay. I had a branch.
So it's not a brand new for you.
No, some of the people that I worked with are still there, and it was really good to see them. It was kind of like a welcome home. But we had a very successful branch there. We were number one in the company. And I had two partners, and I wanted to kind of have multiple branches, and they just kind of wanted to stay local. So we ended up parting ways, and I kind of went and built, what I've had and built for the last 8 years. And we always kept in touch.
The last 8 years you've been on your own.
Yeah, I was on my own. Well, I say on my own. We have a great team, and we've had some incredible years since 2016. But I've always been in contact with the people that own NRL, and we've talked 2 or 3 times, and it just wasn't right timing. And this time around, it just made sense to come in as the Chief Production Officer and take over supporting the sales group for the country and all those branches, and just bringing in a different perspective. 1 month ago, I was originating loans. So I still have a feel for what it takes to be a successful loan officer in this market, which was a very challenging market. So being able to bring that to the executive table and be able to make change and decisions that will affect people's ability to get business and support their real estate partners is a big deal. It's what I am literally made to do.
So you're in a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a better opportunity. The thing that gets me going, I'm not the person that gets super excited about the paperwork of loans, but I do get super excited about building people and supporting people and fostering growth in people. So being able to do this at the level that I am now, it is literally the perfect position. So I'm very, very excited about it. It's very new. As a matter of fact, they put the formal announcement internally out today.
I saw it
on
Facebook.
You could effectively say today is my first day.
Today's
but
his first day.
Very, very ready to go get to work for everybody.
And for what I understand, pretty much everybody that's on your team where you came from came with you.
They did. Yeah. So we've been together a long time. We're a very tight-knit group. I mean, they're definitely like family to me. And, you know, it started off with, does this make sense for them?
Right.
And then once we had something that made sense for them, I
Because
asked.
you guys, we don't have to talk
Yeah.
about who it was, but you guys, not too far in the distant past, made another change,
Mhm.
and now you made this one.
Yeah. So it was a stepping stone. It was a means to an end. We had to make a change a year ago. You always hope that whatever that change is will be what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't, that's fine. It's just business. I'm not.
Well, you have to take chances.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, if it looks like it's a better opportunity, you have to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, we
If it
went.
doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, we went for it as a group, and we all agreed that it wasn't what we needed, and this was a better opportunity for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So if it works for everybody, we go. So once we knew it was good for everybody, then I kind of asked them the permission, like, hey, you know, I want to do this. You know, it's
Right.
been a long time coming. I think you guys know, for what really gets me excited, this is it. Like, this
Right.
is the opportunity. And it's not often that you get a chance to step into a role like this that's in your backyard. Like, I
Mhm.
didn't have to move. I didn't have to move states. I didn't have to relocate. It's right here in Houston. And, you know, this is where I've been my whole life.
Well, I'm glad you didn't have to move, and I'm glad you didn't have to take Carrie Jo with you.
I would have.
Yeah, I know you would have.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been upset about that.
Yeah.
So tell everybody about NRL Mortgage, because there's going to be real estate agents
Sure.
watching this podcast.
Yeah, so it started 16 years ago. So I've been in business 16 years ago. We're an independent mortgage bank. So what that means is we're not a Wells Fargo bank.
Mm-hmm.
So we only do one thing, right? We do mortgage loans.
Loans. Yeah.
So if you're only going to do one thing, you got to be really good at it. So
Hey, my old boss used to tell me all the time, we only make cheese pizzas because we make the best damn cheese pizza in the industry.
I mean, I like a thin cheese pizza.
There you go.
So, you know, it's bar pizza.
Exactly.
But what I will say is, you know, what they were 8 years ago when I left to what they are today is night and day.
Mhm.
And that's what you want from a company, right? You want to see that a company is growing. You want to see that a
Evolving.
company is evolving.
Mhm.
They're keeping up with the times. They're one of the more tech-forward companies. One of the more tech-forward companies I've had an opportunity to speak or sit down with, because, you know, Kevin, I keep up with people that are at lots of companies. I have a pretty good idea of what's going on at most of the companies around the Houston area.
Right.
So I know what our competition is. I know what we need to do. I know where we need to be. And the thing that I would say is, even in the last 12 to 18 months, there's been some extremely positive change at NRL. So if you are listening to this and you haven't given them a chance in the last 18 months, you're probably missing out.
Mm-hmm.
And all we're going to do is continue to improve.
Especially since you're there now.
Well, that feels like a lot of pressure, but I'm up for it.
You bring a lot to the table.
Well, I bring a lot of experience and I bring a lot of knowledge from being at really large companies that were really good.
Yeah.
So, you know, I started in this business in 2002. So the best parts of every place I ever was is what I've always tried to make our team,
Mm-hmm.
right? You take the best parts of every place you've ever worked, and then you try to put all those things together, and you just try to build a place that people feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they feel comfortable that their business is safe in your hands, right? And if
Yeah.
they feel that way, then they are, you know, kind of like, they feel like released to go get as much business as possible.
Well, if they know, like, and trust you, then they don't have to worry about that aspect of their business.
And that,
They
and
know
that,
that they send it to you, it gets taken care of. They send it to Carrie Jo, it gets taken care of. They don't have to worry about it.
yes. And to build that culture, it has to be from us at the company level, and it has to be felt all the way down to the loan officer.
Mm-hmm.
And if the loan officer doesn't feel that directly from me, then we're not doing our job.
Yep.
So that is the culture that we are creating, and that is what we are permeating to our sales force. And I think it's going to take a very short period of time before it's felt in our community, because our community is going to know that we come from a place of having a servant's heart, and that we are always going to be giving back, not just through the service that we give people to buy homes, or the partners that we partner with in the real estate community or title community, et cetera, but actually making change in the community. Our team has always been very focused on, why would we, like, if we're number one in the market, what does it matter if we're not doing something good with it, right? So we've always been very involved in making sure we're giving back, making sure that we're supporting Certain groups, like we do a lot for veterans.
It's the Red Day shirt that I got was sitting over there.
Yeah, and that will be with us no matter where we are.
Right.
Like we will always support our veterans no matter where we are. And then once a year we do a big golf tournament for breast cancer awareness too. And over the years, well, you'll know about it this year.
Okay. Huh? Okay.
But over the years, you know, I don't like to talk about numbers, but we've helped a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's a
Well, that's what it's about.
well, it's the result of working with people that want to make change, make positive change in people's lives. So most of the people that have ever received a grant or help from us, the idea or the nomination came from within our group. So they're finding the needs of the community, and then we're filling them.
Nice.
But we cannot do that without mortgage loans, because that's the only thing we do,
Right.
right? So we have to be really good at those so that we can also serve our community in a real way. And that is what every single person in the organization of NRL is going to understand starting today.
Sounds like you know exactly what direction you want to go and how you want to get there.
Yeah, I'm ready.
How many people do you have on your team here other than Carrie Joe, in the city of Houston surrounding area?
Yeah, so we had 45 people make the move. We have
Wow.
3 locations. We're in Humble, Katy, and Friendswood.
Okay.
We have been number 1 in Galveston County for purchase transactions for the last 5 years.
Nice.
You know, market share is important. I know that you're working on.
I
Your
got
work-
great news today about my
Yeah,
market
you're
share,
you're working on that too, and you know, it's easier to get to number 1 than stay.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, it's like anything else.
Yes, absolutely. So once you get there, it's very hard to stay. So we pride ourselves on the fact that we've been able to do that, and a lot of that just comes from being with people that, you know, they're extremely innovative. They have no issues with collaborating. No one keeps secrets. No one has silos. We are 100% open communicators. If something's working for one person, they share it with everyone. If you could ever be on one of our team's calls, if someone has something that's working for them, I will just call them out and say, tell everybody what you're doing. And they're not going to keep that to themselves because market share is about building a brand. And when you build a brand, your job gets easier. If people have heard of you and have had a good experience, they're more likely to refer business to you.
Exactly.
So sharing those ideas and those innovations with each other makes it easier for you to grow.
It makes everybody on the team better.
Well, sure, and there's absolutely no positive that comes from silos or keeping secrets. So that type of collaboration and innovation is another thing that we're bringing. And Kevin, I've never been more excited going into a year.
Well, this is the second or third time that I've either talked to you or been with you, and this is the most excited I've ever seen you.
This is excited for me. Like, if you don't know me, I am on fire excited right now.
Right, he's not moving much.
I'm a super level guy, but I work very intensely, and I am very intentional, and I always have a plan, and it's mapped out. And one thing I've gotten very good at in my 21 years, almost 22, is I would say I probably execute as well as anyone.
Awesome.
Ideas are fun. Actually putting them down and executing them is harder.
Yeah.
And we've created processes around that I think make our team special. And I'm excited to give that away.
I'm excited that you basically announced this on my podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just leveled up.
You did. Yeah.
So, is there anything that you'd like, since you're number 1 in Galveston County, and you're looking to be number 1 in Harris and Fort Bend and Brazoria, and
there's no reason we shouldn't be number 1 in Harris County if our corporate office sits there.
right.
So that is number 1 priority for 2024.
So, is there anything that you'd like to tell agents in podcast land today that might be watching this about your new announcement and your new venture that they need to know?
Yeah. So what I would say is what I said earlier. If you've used NRL in the past, or if you've not given them a chance in the last 18 months, it is a completely different experience. What we are building, what we have built, what we continue to work on, the things that are on the roadmap, the projects that we are working on are going to make us number 1 in the market, period. And I'd love them to be able to experience that before we get there. You know,
Nice.
it's not, I mean, When Starbucks was small,
Bandwagon.
you go to Starbucks
Bandwagon.
and you're like, hey, I'm
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. But once you're number one, it's easy to be like, oh, yeah, well, of course they're good. Let's go do
Yeah.
business there. You're going to get to be a part of that, right?
You want them to experience it before you.
Well, I want their feedback.
Mhm.
They can help. I am not the smartest person in the room. I surround myself with people that are, and I'm always listening. So if you're a real estate team or you're a real estate agent and you're looking for a company that not only is going to care, but that you can give feedback and they will listen and enact change that'll be positive for your business, I'm right here. And I'm literally the one that can do that.
I mean, the buck stops with this guy.
100%.
So in today's market, those are very important things that you have to think about when you're running your own business. Agents are running their own business. You need to work with vendors that you know, like, and trust. And here's one right here that's actually making a commitment to you guys on the podcast.
On the podcast.
On Kevin's Corner.
If you've
podcast.
ever said the words, I really like my lender, except, you need to call me.
And how do they do that?
My number is 832-398-1020. You can get right to me. My email is steven.curtis@nrlmortgage.com.
Awesome.
Even if you just want to say, you guys could be better at something, or I had this experience, I don't care what the feedback is. Just give it to me, because no matter what, we're going to get better.
Any feedback is good feedback.
100%.
Whether it's positive or negative, they want to know it all. Well, congratulations, Steve.
Thank you.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for being on the podcast,
Yeah.
and good luck with the new venture. And I've never seen him smile so much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Give him the phone number one more time.
832-398-1020.
Awesome. Again, thanks for being on the podcast. We'll come back with segment number 2 with Angie Middlebrooks. Bye.